Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I'm going to make one more video tonight. Okay, this is my nod toward the news. And I still don't know why so many people seem to be interested in things that I don't always think are as interesting. But I must confess, I am interested in this subject. Many different aspects to it. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about military, I'm talking about war, I'm talking about armed forces, about conflicts, right? So obviously the reason why I'm not as interested in the subject, there's a number of reasons. One, I hate politics. A lot of people do. And politics are involved somewhat in this, of course. Two, I didn't go into the armed forces. It wasn't quite the right thing for me, to say the least. Yeah. Although there's a side to me that maybe could have, maybe. Yeah. And I have a great deal of admiration for people in the armed forces, for the most part. Yeah. So, yeah. And I also think it's interesting, and of course, so the negative thing is, of course, I just, personally don't relate as well to the subject of much as some, but I hate politics and I hate, war, of course, itself is hell. Sorry. So, why do I like this subject? Of course, well, I love strategy, you know, military games, of course, and so obviously there's a connection there, but it's obviously different than real war. And so, but I'm always curious about not only the international thing in different countries and that sort of thing, but of course, but also, worst case scenarios, and it's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking a little bit sometimes, depending on how you view certain conflicts, or certain conflicts, how much are you thinking that something is really going to happen. Okay, so in modern times we've had so many things that have never happened, never materialized, that we've heard might happen. So we're all very, I think, news weary in general in the United States. We're all very weary of hearing about potential wars, or war might happen. And it's like you kind of tune it out after a while. War might happen with what's the big word right now? North Korea, right? Maybe China, probably not. I know the big one's North Korea, and Iran. It's an old hat, maybe. You know these the names of these countries get tossed around like all the time. So when you say Iran, or you say North Korea, or uh, Russia, maybe, or there's still a little bit of that stuff, or China, or um, I don't take people seriously when they say Cuba anymore. It's ridiculous. Um, or maybe Pakistan or something. Pakistan's real beef is India. When World War III happens, I just I don't know. I mean, like India and Pakistan, they're gonna be at it until I don't know. I would take of course I think most people would side with India. As crazy as it sounds, I think Pakistan's a great country. It's we all know it. It's not about the people. It's about the government. Okay, so the real gist of what I'm trying. What are my thoughts here? Am I mentioning just rumors, or what? Well, let's just talk for a second about what is going to happen. That's what when it comes to this subject about war in the news, and you hear all this stuff. All people want to know is, are we going to actually be attacked, or are we attacking someone, and how much what's happening, but more especially that we want to know if we need to be on our guard, something's about to hit us. That's obviously the most important thing that on our minds. So what can I offer in that regard that that other people can't? It's a tough one. Well, I will say this: who is really our biggest threat? This is not going to be about the Illuminati, right? We know that that's actually the biggest threat, but it's just a very hidden one, and things have been hunky dory with them for a long, long time anyway. So it's just kind of like life, right? Life. We've been living under the Illuminati I've been living under the Illuminati ever since I've been born. So they've never, we don't fear them because that's just something that has been going on for supposedly for a long, long time. I would say yes, it does. Okay, so we're talking about external foes, right? Other than your terrorists and things. I don't know. Which country is it most reasonable? But again, which country is it most reasonable to have a healthy being on your guard, right? Because it takes energy to be on your guard. To be honest, if you have a gun, it's loaded, here's a trigger, here's a support rifle, right? It takes energy to be really alert, right? You don't want to be like this all the time. It gets tiring. I put the gun down after a while. And it's the same thing with emotions. And okay, I know I'm going on too long about this. Who is it? Who do we have to be worried about? It's really clear. It should be really clear to anybody. You know who it is? It's North Korea. It is North Korea. They're the crazy. They're nutty enough to do it. If they build a nuke, you better believe it. If they build some nukes, oh man, they will use them. Oh, Donald Trump, he'll talk. He'll say, oh, they'll retaliate. I know, but North Korea is the one to watch. You can almost ignore Iran. What does Iran want? What does the Iranian government want? They want Israel not to exist, of course. So that's their big thing. Because the United States supports Israel, that's why governments. But Iran is kind of well, for one, it's not as close to us. Well, I don't know. It's perhaps a little further away than North Korea from us. Kind of. Pacific Ocean's very big. If the North Koreans can make it over here, I'm sure they can. Something tells me that Iran is really just interested in getting rid of Israel. And the United States would probably want to avoid a conflict with, because we're really big and powerful. But they probably wouldn't shirk so they wouldn't start something with us, but they probably wouldn't shirk from a battle either. They would certainly defend themselves. And if the entire all the Muslims were behind Iran, or probably not Turkey, because Turkey's kind of always West, Muslim West. They're always kind of trying to do but all the Muslim powers behind Pakistan, Iran, maybe, I don't know, probably not Egypt. It'd probably be Iran or Pakistan, as far as maybe Egypt. But Egypt is probably second fiddle or third fiddle to those guys. But in terms of powers, Saudi Arabia would be after that. But if the Muslims are going to battle, and they were all in, if they all teamed up on America, okay, we'd have our hands full, but we'd still probably defeat them if we had the full scale recruiting, full scale fighting. But yeah, but I mean, it would be a different deal. I mean, Iran would probably feel more confident to attack us if had everyone else going with them. Then of course, it's basically with any major power, it's going to be World War III. So they'd have to. If Iran were to get involved, they know it would be a World War III situation. With North Korea, though, I'm not saying it wouldn't be World War III. I'm just saying that there's a better chance of if Iran went to war with us, or we went to war with them, or whatever happened, that would be World War III. Because they have all the alliances and they're big enough power. Yeah. But North Korea is kind of like, yeah, China's not really super happy with North Korea because China wants to what? China wants to have trade with us. Right? They want to trade. They want money. They can own. They can peacefully take over ports in the West Coast. And China, if China can get, citizens have a higher standard of living, can get good stuff from the United States, get technology from us, and have a good working relationship. If at some point they see this as being weak enough, maybe they might invade, then that might be different. That's definitely, without a doubt, if China were ever to go to battle, that would be clearly World War III, right? So that's not really something that they won't even consider. I mean, as far as I know right now, it's maybe really far back in someone's mind. I mentioned that Illuminati word again. China's keeping an eye on the dollar. We've heard all those things, right? It's North Korea, folks. North Korea is the country to watch. It's Kim Jong-un. The leader of North Korea is a very unstable person. Wicked, in my opinion. People are very much brainwashed by him. And they have been that way for a long time. They're brainwashed. They're in fear of the government. It's bad. If there were to be a war, it would be with North Korea. So the question would be, would anyone else join North Korea's side? I highly doubt it. If China doesn't side with North Korea, which I don't think it would, really depending on the situation, but no question is would it? But I don't think it would, and neither would Russia. Neither would any of the nations of the Southeast Asia, old communist areas. No, obviously not. I think Cuba's laughable. Cuba wouldn't even be a speck in our. They're doing their own thing. The communist thing is so done. It's so done. And it's. But these wackos, North Korea still are. I don't know. And here's the crazy thing. We hear about these evil things that the government's doing. And the weird thing is that because of what the government's doing, we have countries like North Korea. Probably some of that is just their own doing. It's bad, but my gut thing tells me that there's a lot of the sentiment behind a lot of anti-American things has a lot to do with the bad things the government has done. And so we haven't done anything to North Korea. I mean, as far as people in the United States, we've done nothing to them. I've never even been there, but yet we're the ones that are in fear of being bombed. And then the North Korean people, same thing. They've done nothing to Washington D.C. Why would they be deserving of getting bombed? The same thing with the Middle East folks. It's ridiculous. And this is why war is evil. And you can't not say war is good. War is evil. Sometimes it has to happen, I guess. But it's still evil. The root of it is still evil. If this was a heavenly world, we wouldn't have war. Of course, war would be no more. But this is an evil world, and so we have wars. We have people that are trying to. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just knowing what can be, if anything were to strike the United States, right, it would be from most likely North Korea. So North Korea is the one to keep an eye on. Everyone else, small potatoes compared to that. Russia, China, Iran, I wouldn't even. But North Korea, again, the government's crazy enough to do something like that. They want to send a message. Right? We know that South Korea and Japan are going to be hit probably before us. And that does not sit well with me at all. Because of all people in the world, East Asians I hold very high regard. South Korea and Japan being definitely, I don't want anything to happen to those people. I want them to be just fine. I don't want any more bombs. Japan's already been bombed. South Korea's already had to deal with the Korean War. and all the things of the past. No, no, no. But again, So, do I like that Trump is talking a tough talk with North Korea? Well, like many people, I don't really fully support Trump, but I'm glad he's saying something like that instead of, oh well, North Korea, they're just they're just idiots, they're silly, I'm glad he's taking him seriously because I do too. I take North Korea pretty darn seriously. Um, yeah. Would they be able to defeat the United States? No. If we're ready for them, they might do some serious damage if we're not ready for them. But I think we are. Anyway, leave me your thoughts and comments below. And one more thing goes without saying, because I like the South Korean people very much. It's obviously the same thing with North Korea. With North Korean people, there's no difference. They're both Korean, both just the people. Who do I hate? Well, I hate war, but I definitely don't care for the North Korean government as well, because they're starving their citizens, making their lives miserable. Yeah, the citizens are still supporting them. They have to, out of fear. It's wrong. All right, catch you guys later.